Welcome back to Where You Live with Gene and Tony. We are broadcasting from the Concierge Landscape Studios. We're brought to you this hour by Extreme Exteriors. And we have some great information for our listeners today. We've been talking about, I guess a lot has been surrounding the board of directors and what to do in meetings.
We've had a couple issues brought to us by listeners regarding board meetings.
Yes, and you have a great piece of information that we want to give to our listeners.
Yep. Our earlier topic was what should be recorded in meeting minutes. I mean, that was part of that story. And I have an excerpt from the Scott Forsman Robert's Rules of Order, newly revised, that I can provide to you if you want it. You can call us on the hotline, 952-224-2668, and I'll send you a copy of this. It lists and consolidates what should be in meeting minutes.
Yes.
And I'll tell you this, what should not be in meeting minutes is a verbatim transcript of every discussion. That
Agreed.
should not be in there. All right.
Yes, and also let our listeners know, too, we're giving away a free membership to CAI. That's the Community Associations Institute. To the first caller that identifies themselves and who they are, the association where they live. We need the contact information. We need your address, phone number, email address to make sure that we can get the folks at CAI connected with you to get this free membership to you. It's a great resource for if you're thinking about running and serving on the board, or if you are serving on a board, some great information. And we were talking about Robert's Rules of Order. Before we go on to this next story here about the exploding mailbox of a president, I wanted us to talk about Robert's Rules of Order and how important that is at a meeting. People are really confused about that.
Well, they can be very complex. If you go to the nth degree with Robert's Rules of Order, it seriously covers every possible contingency, everything that could happen in a meeting of a group of individuals trying to govern something. I mean, it's very complicated. You can do a simplified form of Robert's Rules of Order for your board meetings, if you wish. And in fact, there's another publication called the ABCs of Parliamentary Procedure. That's published by Channing Bett, CHANNING-BETE, that I used to hand out to boards that I managed because it just lays it out in very simple fashion how topics are brought up, how motions are made, how seconds are made, how votes are taken, and if someone from the listeners or the audience wants to speak, what they have to do.
Yeah, and again, the whole purpose of Robert's Rules of Order is basically just to give everybody the opportunity to speak in a very calm, consistent manner, giving everybody a fair time to be able to be addressed.
By everyone, you mean everyone on the board who is legitimately meeting. That doesn't mean every homeowner sitting listening.
Whoever the meeting applies. I think
whomever the board acknowledges.
Yes, and the point I was going to make next here is it would be this is what the city council uses. If you go to a city council meeting, it's what our state legislature uses when they go into session. It's what they use at Congress, at the Senate. And again, your point is you have people who are listening to those meetings. They don't get to participate, but those that are in the meeting, you will see an orderly way of people moving forward. And just basically, we want to let you know, if a person makes a motion, they're saying, they're introducing a topic for discussion. If there is no second, people are saying there's not enough interest to even move forward. And so it dies. And there's a way, so you can have someone who on the board may have an axe to grind, that one important issue they won't give up. And if it happens again and again, meeting after meeting, all the other board members have to do, if they don't want to discuss it, is nobody seconds it, and it ends the discussion.
Right. You bring up the city council meetings. That's a great place to observe and learn how a meeting should be run. You can go sit and listen to your city council meeting, and it's a good education. I noticed, attending mine, that they do allow people to come to the meeting who have an issue that they're presenting to the council at that moment. Once the council acknowledges them, they have a limited amount of time to stand up and state their subject, their issue, their viewpoint. And once they've done that, they don't get to talk again. The committee will say, please state your issue. They give you 5 minutes, whatever their limit is. You sit down, and then they'll say, is there anyone else who wishes to oppose this or wishes to make their opinion known on this? Then if the neighbor who you're disputing the fence over or whatever stands up, they get 5 minutes. You do not get to stand up again and argue with that neighbor.
Exactly. Now, if they have questions, they'll turn to you and ask you
questions.
Further questions.
Right. That's right.
But you can't volunteer
your time is
additional information.
That's right.
And that's the way it's going to be run. And
right.
You're right. And that's the way homeowner associations ought to be run. I think there'd be more people that would be involved in associations if meetings were run that way. Because all you're doing is you're saying we're going to respect everybody's time. That's
right.
what it's saying.
That's right.
Well, let's talk about someone who doesn't respect anyone, and that was Homeowner Association President's mailbox explodes. Where do you think this happened, folks? That's right, Florida. Our first issue dealt with the woman who had to litter the junk mail she didn't want.
She left it on the floor
in the halls as she's going back, and now an association president's mailbox explode. I tell you, the folks in Florida take their mail seriously, darn it, and you better not mess with them. I think that's what these stories are saying.
Is that what that means?
But this came from Channel 13 News in Orlando, Florida, an ABC affiliate, and it said a Seminole Homeowner Association president's mailbox has exploded following a notice sent to the association residents who were non-compliant with a brick mailbox requirement. So apparently the association said if you're going to have a mailbox in front of your home, it has to have sort of a brick.
It has to meet certain specifications, and one of those was it has to be brick.
Yes. Now, the Pinellas County Sheriff's detectives responded to the home of Wintrees Oaks Homeowners Association President Gerard Esposito after receiving a report that his mailbox exploded around 1:45 p.m. on Friday.
Holy cow.
According to deputies, the HOA management company sent notices to the residents who were non-compliant with the HOA requirement of having a brick mailbox. Officials said Esposito's wife, Deborah Esposito, heard a loud explosion outside her home. When she looked outside, she saw their brick mailbox was partially blown away. Deputies said they smelled black powder when they arrived at the home. No one was injured. There was no other property damage involved. Officials have not determined what type of device was used. Deputies have not named a suspect at this time. If anyone in Minnesota has information asking, you can call the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office or remain anonymous. Wow. Again,
this gets really scary to me.
It does.
When violence starts to occur over homeowner association issues.
What gives people the idea that this small, in comparison to your life and everything that goes on, something like this now becomes the biggest issue of the year, and you have to resort by making a statement by blowing something up.
Yeah, it's very frightening, I think.
Yeah, it really is. And I've got to say, we've talked to a number of people on our show who are considered homeowner association advocates, and they all talk about how they are bullied by the board. But I see more and more cases, more often than not, of there being violent actions against board members and not the homeowner themselves. And so, there is just no place for this in any kind of civilized society.
This kind of behavior, and I maybe I'm taking this too far, but the lady who dumps her mail on the floor, her junk mail, because the association gave her no as an answer, I think just on the lower end of the scale of this kind of behavior. Her behavior is antisocial. Her behavior is anti-community. Now, that's minor compared to this, but I see it on the same scale. Am I out of my mind?
No, I don't think so at all.
This guy or whoever created this bomb just took it to the far extreme and said, I'm upset. I don't like what the association is telling me. I don't like my community. I don't like my society. So I'm going to blow stuff up.
Now we have people that'll do that. People don't like things that go on with our federal government. And so that's why you had the Timothy McVeigh bombings,
man.
right?
Yes.
But those are extreme acts.
Yes.
Most people won't go to that extreme.
That's
Why?
right.
Because they understand that we are a society living within laws, and we respect those laws. Unfortunately, when you get down and it gets drilled down to the homeowner association level, what it shows me is that there are more people that don't respect the law when it comes to homeowner association or organ or recognizing the authority that's given there.
Yeah.
Like they do in a state government, a city government, a federal government. And the interesting thing is, unlike the federal government, which you're a part of because you were born here, you have an option to be a part of the homeowners association.
You chose to be there.
You chose to be there. You chose to comply.
Yes.
Why didn't you read the cotton picking laws prior to moving in?
That's right.
If you found these so egregious,
That's right.
There's just no place for this in society. We'd love to hear from you. What do you think? Again, our hotline number 952-224-2668, and we'll play those responses next week's show. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we've got some great advice on how to attract HOA volunteers
Good.
at your association. More after this.